Hey everybody, Mr. Dave here. Welcome back to the next episode of the beginner ukulele class here at the Buckland Public Library, sponsored by the Buckland branch of the Mass Cultural Council. So let's start off tuning. Here are your notes. High A, E, C, low G, high G. That's the one yours probably sounds like. So we're going to go over some new chords today. We've done C and we've done G, a whole bunch. Let's move on, shall we? We're going to work on these three chords today. F, A minor, and D minor. And, you probably guessed it, we're going to be working on that rhythm pattern with the new chords. So, get your fingers all limbered up and ready to go. And we're going to jump right into the F chord. The F chord, right there. Here we go. You're going to put your index finger on the first fret of the E string and your middle finger on the second fret of the G string. Now keep in mind, remember, yours is going to sound probably an octave higher than mine unless you've got a low G on there. And it sounds something like that. That's your F chord. Now before I go any further, I do want to say that all of the chords that we are working on right now are in the key of C, meaning a song that is in the key of C, all of these chords will most likely fit in there. Or if you're playing scales later on, if you were playing a song that used these chords, you would need to use the C major scale for noodling along, improvisation, or finding the melody line. Now that's not always 100% all the time, but for now, that's what we'll think. So back to the F chord. Index finger, first fret, middle finger on the second fret, and just down strums. This is another one where you have to make sure that your finger isn't accidentally muting another string. It's real easy for the pad of your middle or your index finger to touch one of the strings that's supposed to be open and accidentally mute it. So make sure you're using the tips of your fingers, not the pads, the tips, and just work on down strum on that chord. That's the F chord. Now, because I'm a cruel taskmaster, I want you to go from the F to the C chord. How you're going to do that is while you're playing the F chord, you're going to take your ring finger and you're going to place it down on the third fret of your A string where you would normally play the C, and lift up your other two fingers. Now normally you could just go right away and switch, but what I want you to do is I actually want you to do one strum with all of them down and then lift up the other fingers. And that's actually going to give you an F sus. It's a very pretty chord. It gives you a suspended note, but that gives you it starts building the muscle memory for that very common chord change, F to C. So that's what I want you to do. Once you've gotten the hang of the down strums of the F by itself, plant down on one strum of the F, one strum with the F with that C up on the top end, and then lift up the F chord so you have the open C. And just sounds kind of cool too, so it won't be like, too hard to practice. Practice that, pause me, practice that, come back, and we'll move on. Okay, so you've gotten used to going back and forth to that F to the C. So now let's go on to the rhythm pattern. You're down, down, up, up, down, up. Now you notice I'm putting a little bit of a swing on the end there. Kind of almost giving it a country feel. If you play it straight up, has a Latin feel to it. It's the same rhythm pattern. My hand isn't changing, really. It's just how I'm playing it, which is not exactly what I mean, but it's just a slight variation in the rhythm that you're playing. So you can have it, you know, this kind of country. And that's the one I'm going to go with right now, just because it will fit a lot of things that you're already playing. However, if you're doing this, that's okay, because that sounds good too, and it's the same motion. But you're going to hear me doing this one. All right, so we're going to go and we're going to play this through, and we're going to do it twice on the F, and then at the very last strum, when you get through it, just before we're going of the second time through, so it'll all be F here. On that very last strum, you're going to throw that C down with your ring finger like we practiced, and then play through 2 with the C. It's going to sound like this. Now, if you have to do it a little early, that's okay too. You can do it like 2 beats before if you want to. And we're going to practice going back and forth between that F and the C, using that leading tone. That's what that's called, is when you have a note that goes into the next chord. It leads into the next chord. It's called a leading tone. And this is what you're going to practice. Now go as slow as you need to, obviously. And work on that back and forth. Practice it from the F to the C and back again, back and forth. Pause me and practice that. Now this is probably a good one to, you know, stop for the day on, because that's a tricky beast, going back and forth the F. However, if you're feeling frisky, there's more of the video to come. So like I said, pause me, practice that, and I'll see you when you hit play again. Okay, you've practiced going from that F to C back and forth with the rhythm pattern. Now let's move on to the next chord, A minor. Deceptively simple looking. It's just one finger, and specifically, I want you to use your middle finger on that, because if you remember from the F chord, that's the F, that's the A minor. That's what's called a common tone. When 2 chords have you use the same note, that is a common tone. And it makes changing back and forth between those 2 chords, if you're talking about a string fretted instrument, real easy if you know that it's a common tone. Because if you're playing an A minor with your index finger and you need to go to an F, then you've got to move everything over. However, if you always play that A minor with that middle finger, well, not always, but if you most often, if that's your default finger to go to, going to an F, which is in the same key, is as simple as placing down your index finger. So let's play that A minor chord down strums and use your middle finger on your G string. And it sounds like this. Minor chords are sad sounding chords, or dark chords, or mysterious chords, emotional chords. They're very emotionally charged. Very rarely do people hear a minor chord and go think, I'm happy. No, that's usually like, whoa. So that's usually a good way to tell them apart. A minor chord is supposed to sound sad or dark or mysterious. A major chord usually sounds happy when it's by itself. Okay, so A minor, let's try that just down strums. You should be able to get a hang of this one pretty quickly. However, as usual, I want you to press pause and practice this much. And once you've gotten the hang of down strums of the A minor, we're going to do rhythm pattern, and we're going to do more chord transitions. And welcome back. A minor, F. Same thing we did with the F and the C. We're going to go play 2 of the A minor and switch it to the F, and that last upstroke, just drop that finger to the F. But then you don't have to do anything after that. You're good. And it makes for a really cool, again, it's like with the C to the F, or the F to the C. It gives it that kind of suspension. This has a very similar effect without actually being a suspended chord. practice back and forth that. Then we're going to go for a threefer. All right, so we are going to do what we've been doing, except we're going to go A minor, F, C. Now you'll notice at the end of that passage, when you get to that C, you feel like, that's where I'm supposed to be. That's called resolving, because going from an A minor to an F in the key of C, you want to go to that C. The C is the tonal chord, so you really want you want to go there, and that's just how the Western music is. So let's practice 2 A minors, 2 Fs, 2 Cs, and then back again. This is what it's going to sound like, and don't forget those leading tones. Sorry, A minor first. So practice that. Try not to pull any hair you may have out of your head, but keep going, relax, enjoy it. Enjoy the movement of the music, and come back to me once you've gotten to the point where you feel you can do it fairly well, or at least slightly reliably. Alrighty, let's see what you got, shall we? Now we're going to throw on a D minor. Now, looky. We've got more common tones, don't we? There's your D minor. Oh, look at that. That's an F. So, what do you think? Yeah, all you're going to do is place a finger down. You play it just like if you were playing the F, and then you put your ring finger down right in between the two on that second fret on the C string. And that's what it sounds like. It's another minor chord, so it's dark and deep and mysterious. All right. Place your fingers down for the D minor, and let's work on those down strums. Just like before. Now you'll notice that all of this is culminative. It all builds on itself. You can always refer back to something else as you're learning these chords. When you start getting into bar chords, you're going to see that there's a lot of commonality with bar chords. But for right now, if you start paying attention, there's a lot of common tones and tones that are close by to make chord transitions easier. That's the sort of thing you need to start paying attention to as you learn more chords. Oh, well, where are my fingers when I know this chord that's kind of the same? Or look for the common tones and then build from there. All right, pause me, practice that D minor, come back, and we're going to do a whole new strum pattern. Well, not a new rhythm. You'll see. All right, welcome back. Real quick, D minor, let's do the strumming pattern. Now, if you remember when we were doing the F to the C, we put down our ring finger for that C. Now, here's where it gets a little weird. I've told you since the beginning that there's no one only way you can play any chord. There's always options. There's always different things you can do. We're going to do the same thing we did from the F to the C, but instead of using your ring finger to place down on that third fret, you're going to use your pinky finger to the C. And then see, I'm playing the C with my pinky finger now. Just like the F with that pickup, with that leading tone, but go from D minor to C. Good. practice that, and then I'm throwing this at you. Okay, here we go. Last thing of the day. We are going to play A minor to F to D minor to C, and then back again. Two measures, really, two strum patterns worth on each with the appropriate leading tones. If you miss the leading tones, don't freak out, it's not a big deal. However, I want to see how well you guys can get through that. So it's going to sound like this. Chord progression there. It's fairly common, but it sounds nice. Oh, and we didn't go over that pickup there, but it's just putting down the middle finger from the F to the D minor. It's just putting that middle finger down for the pickup. Time through, listen, get it in your head. All right, now practice that, get used to it, get it under your fingers, and thanks for joining me here today. I really appreciate it. Thanks again to the Buckland Public Library in Buckland, Massachusetts, as well as the Buckland branch of the Mass Cultural Council for sponsoring our little class here. And there's two more after this one, and we'll make sure that you've got everything you need to get out there and be the best uke can be. See what I did there? Thanks, guys. See you next time.